Inside Michigan Football is presented by Meijer.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Inside Michigan Football. It is a bye week for the Wolverines. They're coming off a big win a week ago against Nebraska, 32-29 in Lincoln. And they're off this week, but that doesn't mean we're off, John. We continue to work.
Well, that's what we do, right? We get a chance to talk Michigan football, what they're doing in the bye week. And honestly, I think the biggest thing, then we saw it on Saturday night in Lincoln, you got to get healed up. Yeah. That offensive line, while they played great with a bunch of different combinations in there, you want to make sure that you have everybody healed up because we're 6 games in. This is the perfect time for a bye week. We got 6 more to go. And I think if you talk to anybody, the next 6 are going to be the toughest 6 that we have.
Absolutely, because the more you win, the bigger the bullseye gets on your back. And Michigan happens to be 6-0 at this point going into the bye week. And one of the important things about the bye week is coaching. And coaches look at that first 6 weeks and they self-scout. Yeah, they look forward at the games coming up, but more importantly, they look back and say, okay, what have we done? What can we do? Defensively, Mike Macdonald is looking at a game against Nebraska where they gave up some big plays. And they weren't as good in the last couple weeks as they were the first 3 weeks. What are they looking at to self-scout?
Well, they're going to be looking at both opponents and say, okay, what was it against Wisconsin? What was it against Nebraska? Nebraska, there were wide receivers that were running wide open. And you can't have that when you start playing Michigan State. We know what their receivers can do. Ohio State, I think 2 of the best receivers in the country. So you've got to make sure that you get those things shored up. You also have to look and say, what did we do well? We can put pressure on quarterbacks. How can we use that to our advantage when we play some of these other teams?
Even get better at that, right? That's how you try to devise schemes where, okay, we're good at this, let's get better.
Well, I'll give you an example. First week of the season, they open up against Western Michigan. It felt a little bit like Josh Ross was somewhat disconnected from the defensive line. They come back, they figure things out, and then you play against Washington, and all of a sudden, Josh Ross now, 5 games after that, we're talking about he's having one of the better seasons we've seen at that linebacker position in some time. They're going to look and say, okay, what are we doing well? How can we do it better? And utilize those guys. And they're very fortunate to have guys at every level that are juniors and seniors that they can take things to and say, we need to do this better. And they're going to make sure that their units are continuing to hold up their end of the bargain.
Okay, let's move to the other side of the ball now, because the other side of the ball offensively, everybody says, wow, they've really done a great job running, but can they throw the ball well enough in a tight game? Is the passing game good enough to rely on when the running game may not get what it needs to get?
Well, you take a look at those 6 games and you say, okay, the running game was the strength. That's the identity. So Michigan's created this identity. Then against Wisconsin, it was those yards were hard to come by. Against Nebraska, they were able to rush for over 200 yards, but still a little bit hard to come by. How do we emphasize that run game? How can we get to the edges a little bit more against teams that don't want you to? There's ways that you can work on that and do that, but you can also in the passing game, we saw the flea flicker against Wisconsin. That opened things up a little bit. Now you've got to make sure on some of those deeper routes to Cornelius Johnson, where it just seemed like Cade McNamara wasn't able to put the ball right where he wanted to. Down the field, we had a great pass to Mike Samerstill. While it was a terrific catch, it was a little bit further. You want to make sure you hit him in stride. So instead of ending up on the 5-yard line, he ended up not scoring on that drive. If you hit him in stride, now it's a touchdown. Hey, defense back out there, 3 and out, you get to go right back at it. And I tell you what, I had a chance to sit down with Jim Harbaugh. He talked about Cade McNamara and also getting J.J. McCarthy some opportunity, making sure he's ready to go. Here's what he had to say about those 2 guys.
Cade played really well. One of his best games, if not his best game. Had a heck of a game. And as far as JJ, yeah, definitely want to keep playing JJ as much as possible. I kind of look back on some other years and did we get the backup quarterback enough reps? Did we have him ready? For when we really needed him. There's just times where you need that backup quarterback to have played and get much experience and as many reps as possible.
Bye week. What are some of the goals that you have for this team in the bye week?
So preparing for future opponents, that's number 1. Number 2 is self-scouting, looking to see in any area, what area that we can improve on. Even the ones we've been successful at, to try to keep those going, and also areas that we can make improvements. and also recruiting. And, those are the major priorities. Plus, my wife lost her mom, recently passed away, and we're going to celebrate her life tomorrow in Kansas City. All the things she just brought daily to so many people. It's a natural life giver and healer, natural healer, caregiver. I mean, just so many things, the way she supported so many people. So look forward to doing that too tomorrow.
Well, the Michigan family will be with you. We're sorry for your loss, for Sarah's loss. And,
thank you. So many people have reached out. It's been very, very heartwarming.
We pray for safe travels and comfort for your family, but we thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
All right, thanks, John.
Don't go away, everybody. This bye week means a lot of people are busy, including Michigan's coordinators. We'll be back. We'll talk to Mike McDonald and Josh Gaddis when Inside Michigan Football continues.
Inside Michigan Football is brought to you in part by Meijer, official sponsor of Michigan Athletics and proud sponsors of local sports teams across the Midwest. And by Gardner White, Detroit's #1 furniture and mattress store.
Welcome back to Inside Michigan Football, joined now by the offensive coordinator for the Wolverines, 6-0, Josh Gaddis. Congratulations. You got to be feeling good after the start that this team is taking.
Yeah, we feel great. Just really proud of our guys and just, where they are, the camaraderie on the team, the leadership. It's credit to our players. They've really taken this team over and made this season, about them and the leaders on this team, and it's been special.
You talked about it being special. Jim has talked about this a lot. These kids are having fun. And I know as a coach, watching kids have fun makes it more fun for you, doesn't it?
It does. It makes it so much easier, just the energy that they bring each and every day, the commitment, the belief. They believe in each other. They believe in the coaches. They believe in the systems. And so it's allowed them to go out there and play confidently. And, as in years past where sometimes you see guys maybe flinch, they don't ever flinch. No matter what adversity they face, they keep believing in each other and they keep pushing themselves through the wins.
Talking about believing, you said in a Zoom call last spring, and I don't know whether you remember this or not, but I was watching. I didn't say much, but you said we got to make a better commitment to the run. You have, and Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum have really responded and answered bells. So has the offensive line.
Yeah, everyone stepped up. I think when I talked about it in the offseason, everyone thought it was lip service. And, it was a true commitment through the offseason. Just, I really felt our running game was in a good place last year. Just didn't get as many opportunities. In a lot of games, we got away from them at times, just kind of being down. And so the whole key in the offseason was playing complementary football as a team. The offense complementing the defense complementing the offense, special teams complementing each other. And so we made that commitment. We invested a ton. And the thing that I think was key was having the amount of returning offensive linemen come back. Last year was a year where, in 2020, where we played a number of different new starters. And so all those guys had game experience, and it paid off for us. You look this past week, we played 7 different offensive linemen.
And it's also good when you've got Blake and Hassan, who I think have taken big steps forward, especially Blake coming back from his first year. He's a different back this year, isn't he?
He's a special player. Blake is a guy that has tremendous talent, a chance to be a difference maker. And to see his growth from year 1 to year 2 has been phenomenal. And Hassan has just picked up right where he's left off. He's the guy that when you get to the Big Ten play, he's going to show up. He's going to be breaking the tackles, moving the chains, and getting first downs.
And a lot of people on this offense, and I'm sure you've heard it, it's noise. I know it, but it's out there. But you don't live in a bubble. Michigan's running game is great, but their passing game just isn't where it needs to be. Where does Josh Gaddis come down on that talk that's out there?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be some type of question people are going to have. If you're not throwing the ball enough, it's a question of your passing game. Last year, it was a question of a running game because we threw the ball too much. And so there's a fine line of balance that we've obviously got to have. I think some of the questions that arose early came in situations where we were leaning on the run because the run worked. And so, that was always something that, benefited us, being able to start the season off running the ball as well as we did. But we've had to be able to throw the ball to win games lately. And so, just to keep complementing that, have the running game complement the pass game is key.
I know that you're working this bye week looking forward at what you're going to play, but you also look backward and you self-scout. From your perspective, this bye week, don't give away any secrets, but where are you trying to get this offense better?
You know, I think the one area that we've got to continue, there's two areas that I think are important. You know, I think we've got to score touchdowns in the red zone. You know, look at our red zone scoring is very high in the country. However, we're relying on a lot of field goals as well. And so we've got to be able to create the difference between 3 and 7 points and score touchdowns. And I think the other area is just create more explosive plays, have more chunk plays within the game, whether that's getting back to some of the more explosive runs that we've had, as well as creating explosive passes. But we've ultimately got to score more touchdowns. And Jake Moody has been phenomenal. He's been a key to us, to our offensive success, but we want to try to keep him as fresh as possible and score touchdowns.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks,
Best
Jeff.
of luck.
Thanks for
Keep
having
up the
me.
great work.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Michigan Football. We are joined now by defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald. Mike, first of all, congratulations. You're 6-0. You're the talk of the town.
No, the players should be the talk of the town, but I appreciate it. We're at a good start.
When you came in from the Ravens in the NFL, you had kind of a puzzle to put players together to fit your system. I think it's been an unbelievable success so far.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, it's a process of getting to know the people in the building and what they can do, and their personalities and how they tick. So it's been it's been a great process. It's been a lot of fun.
From your standpoint in putting the system in, you had players that you knew could be edge players, but you weren't sure who could be the down players, and some of them were going to be both. And then you had the inside linebackers. Well, should that guy be an inside linebacker? Should this guy be a safety? How did you go about making that determination? Was it in spring?
A lot of it was in spring, yeah. You know, the support guys did a great job of cutting up the players and just giving us a quick snapshot of what the guys could do. You know, so you're like, okay, well, this guy has some ability, he has some traits, like, we'll figure out what he can do, you know, over time. So it's a lot of credit to those guys competing and getting better on a daily basis.
And from the Ravens, one of the key things is your interior guys. Usually they're big, huge space eaters. And I think Mozzie, Chris, Jenkins, they've all kind of developed into new positions.
Great credit to those guys, understanding the techniques that we're coaching. Great credit to Coach Nua, just getting those guys to play the certain way. Make no mistake about it, those guys are 300-pound dudes that are powerful guys with heavy hands. They're not 6'4", 350, but that's okay. You know, they come in all different shapes and sizes.
And different shapes and sizes is what this defense is all about. Athletic linebackers.
We got great guys in that room, and Coach Hilo has done an awesome job getting those guys developed. You know, we weren't sure about the depth we had going into the season, and really, you can look at anybody in that room, and they've really taken off throughout the course of the time they've been here.
And you had to be very pleased when you came in and you looked at Brad Hawkins and Dax Hill, Josh Ross. They talk about strength up the middle, Aiden Hutchinson up front. Those guys kind of, when you came in, you had to say, well, we got something to build with.
Yeah, you could. The first conversations we had, they're sitting on the couch in my office, and they're wide-eyed, and they're ready to roll. We didn't know each other yet, but we kind of knew we were going to be able to work together. We're right where we want to be going into the second half, but when you watch the tape, the guys realize there's so much room for improvement. So we're right where we want to be.
What do you do during bye week?
We're spending a lot of time scouting our future opponents and a lot of time scouting ourselves. So it's a combination of understanding what has gotten to this point, what we can improve on, and then what we need to do in order to finish the season the right way.
Self-scouting is so important, and I don't want you to give away any secrets, but what can you do better?
You name it. Every game has had its pluses and minuses based on the types of game that we're playing. So, you know, you take last game, there's too many explosive pass plays. Well, why is that? Well, we can tighten up the rules a little bit. We can make it a little bit cleaner for the players, that sort of thing. You know, some option plays, option responsibilities. I think you saw the improvement from the Rutgers game to the Nebraska game, and just in being able to defend the option plays. So there's a lot of areas we need to improve, and you know, but there's a lot of things that we're doing well too.
Spoken like a coach, we're never good enough, right?
That's right. That's right.
Thanks very much, Mike. Continued
Absolutely.
Great success. Don't go away, everybody. We'll be back with more Inside Michigan Football right after this.
Jeff Spate was introduced to music in first grade when he briefly played the violin. He graduated to the drums in fourth grade.
For some reason, I wanted to play the drums, so I did for a year or whatever, and I don't think my parents were too fond of that. It was pretty loud and right in the corner of my house.
But he soon lost interest, and then in eighth grade, found the guitar.
I played for a couple years, and I taught myself some, you know, early on, just looking up like Jack Johnson tutorials, like Dave Matthews tutorials on YouTube.
What hooked you on the guitar?
I honestly would say watching the video John Butler play Ocean, his 12-minute studio recording. When I saw that, I fell in love with the guitar, and I knew that it's something that I wanted to do.
What is it about that song that just spoke to you?
But there's a lot of finger tapping and stuff that I'd never really seen before, and I think it was the first time that I'd really just seen someone like a guitarist just up close. You know, the video that I saw, it just shows his finger movement, it shows his strumming. I've never seen someone's hand move that fast, and I'm sure there are a lot of guitarists that do that, but I saw that and I was like, wow, you know, I want to figure out what this guy's doing and how I can do it.
Jess says he's moved by that technical detail and the creativity, driving his desire to learn more.
I took a music theory class when I was here, and it really blew my mind. I thought that I knew stuff about guitar, and I thought that I was figuring it out. But you know, these people that are professional like musicians, and they know all this music theory and all this the mathematics behind the guitar strings and stuff. It really just kind of, you know, melted my brain.
Jess also writes and sings. He'll perform for family and friends, small group, campfire type stuff. But getting in front of people wasn't always easy for him. In fact, when he was young, it could be downright messy.
As a kid, I was really scared, even growing up. I was really scared performing in any way in front of people, in front of large groups of people. Like my first lacrosse game, I threw up in my lacrosse gloves on the way to the game, and my second lacrosse game, I threw up in my helmet.
No matter his mood, he describes guitar as an outlet, an elixir of sorts.
People always say, you know, if it's a stressful day, you can go home and play guitar or whatever and like sing and kumbaya, but even if it's a happy day, I love, you know, really any time of the day, and it's something that always really centers me back, and it takes my mind off of things, and it's really something that kind of acts as like just like a gravitational point to kind of bring me back in and keep my mind, you know, like even keel.
Spate has an econ degree and is currently pursuing a master's in management. He explains the parallel between music and football.
The tunnel vision you get, and you're kind of in the zone, you're only really seeing the things that you're supposed to see. So it's really special, and honestly, something that I'm looking forward to down the road too. And you know, not everyone can play football forever, but you know, hopefully I can keep playing in front of people, you know, down the road and playing for people.
And he promises he won't get sick. For Inside Michigan Football, I'm Ed Kingerski.
That's it right there. That's the one.
This week's Al Rostiel Man of the Week is punter Brad Robbins. After learning that one of his childhood coaches was suffering from liver cancer, the graduate student teamed up with Michigan Medicine to help raise awareness and funds to fight liver cancer.
This is just something I feel like I could do to honor him, and you know, that's I feel kind of handcuffed and I feel bad, but this is, I feel like, the best thing I can do to you know, make the situation a little bit better.
Brad Robbins' Pin Cancer Deep campaign through the Rogel Cancer Center is making a difference. Brad is donating $20 for every punt inside the opponent's 20-yard line and $25 for every punt at or longer than 50 yards.
Why do you play football? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? This is just another one of those things that adds to my motivation and preparation for each game.
Boy, it's great to see Brad Robbins doing that. He's a great kid, great punter, but also great in the community. And talk about being a great punter. The special teams for Michigan has been outstanding. Moody and Robbins, their coverage units, it's been one of their strengths right from the get-go. It kind of gets overlooked, but boy, a coach loves that.
To be able to flip the field like Brad Robbins has done, and the coverage units, even when he doesn't kick it out of bounds, to be able to down it inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5, have been great. Jake Moody. I don't want to say he's automatic because he has missed one this year, but you get to the end of a game like that, a high-pressure situation, and it becomes mechanical. That's when you know a kid has a lot of confidence.
And he takes great return men out of the game because he kicks every kickoff out of the end zone. Hey, we're off this weekend. Everybody's been asking me, what are you going to do? I'm real simple. I go north, I put a fire in the fireplace, and on Saturday, I'm going to be watching football.
I'm going to be watching football too, but it's going to be a 10-year-old Little League, Pee Wee League. I get a chance to see Jack. He's number 77, defensive tackle, offensive tackle, and it's the one game I get to see all year in person, and I can't wait. I'm going to tailgate and everything.
I'll bet you Jack can't wait for the old man to check him out too.
I hope so.
Absolutely. Don't miss us next week because we're back with the regular season. It's going to be Michigan Northwestern as Inside Michigan Football comes your way.
Inside Michigan Football is brought to you in part by Meijer, official sponsor of Michigan Athletics and proud sponsors of local sports teams across the Midwest. And by Gardner White, Detroit's #1 furniture and mattress store.